As we have now reached the unofficial halfway point of the regular season schedule, we have a chance to briefly reflect and hand out some hardware. For fantasy purposes, I believe you'd be hard-pressed to find more compelling candidates for first-half MVP on ESPN Fantasy than Kareem Hunt, the Chiefs' all-everything rookie running back, and Todd Gurley too, the Rams' phenomenal back who has been rejuvenated under new head coach Sean McVay's system. Their respective average draft positions were 24 and 22, 7, the 16th and 22nd highest during draft season. They have carried your squad, and they are good bets to continue to do so. They are marvelous talents, but a good reminder. It's always worth continuing to scour the waiver wire to plug the holes filled by players such as Hunt or Gurley. Last season, amongst the top 10 players most commonly rostered by ESPN Fantasy Championship teams was Redskins running back Rob Kelly, who didn't see regular work until Week 8. Keep an eye on the waiver wire this week and, candidly, every week going forward. You could find a league-winning player. Without further ado, here's the ESPN Fantasy Week 9 waiver wire column. Note: players available in less than 50% of leagues on ESPN.com do not qualify for this list. Remaining bye weeks are as follows. Week 9. 6 teams. Chicago, Cleveland, Los Angeles Chargers, Minnesota, New England, Pittsburgh. Week 10. 4 teams. Baltimore, Kansas City, Oakland, Philadelphia. Week 11. 4 teams. Carolina, Indianapolis, New York Jets, San Francisco. Alex Collins has carried the ball at least 10 times in each of the past 4 games. Hannah Fosline, Getty Images. Alex Collins, RB, Baltimore Ravens, 32.3%. The surprising leader in yards per carry in the NFL this season is Collins, the Seahawks castoff who has worked his way up the depth chart in Baltimore. With Terrence West, calf, injured, Collins has assumed a larger role, and we've reached the point where it seems unlikely that will change. He runs hard, creates yards after contact and sprinkled in 2 catches in Week 8. He had 0 before that. Collins is an add for any sized league, with the hope that he can sustain 12 to 15 carries per week going forward. Alfred Morris, RB, Dallas Cowboys, 30.0%. Over the next 6 weeks, the Cowboys are almost assuredly going to be without Ezekiel Elliott, opening the door to someone stepping in to fill his prominent role. Choosing between Morris and Darren McFadden is a projection. It's perhaps most likely that they split this job, but I'll give the slimmest of edges to Morris, who has served as Elliott's backup in games so far this season. Darren McFadden, RB, Dallas Cowboys, 41.8%. Could it be that McFadden steps into a starting role? Unquestionably, but he's yet to play in a game this season, as he's been a healthy scratch while Elliott has been on the field. He's the more proficient pass catcher as compared to Morris, but it's no certainty that McFadden will step into a lead back role. There is no perfect answer as to which running back one should roster, but McFadden should certainly be added in all leagues, as should Morris. Juju Smith-Schuster, WR, Pittsburgh Steelers, 28.9%. There might not be an organization better at identifying and developing wide receiver talent than the Steelers, with Smith-Schuster the latest example of what looks like a stud in the making. Smith-Schuster had his breakout game in Week 8, tallying 7 catches for 193 yards and a touchdown that traveled 97 yards. With Martavis Bryant not currently factoring into the offensive mix in Pittsburgh, Smith-Schuster is the unquestioned second wideout to consider rostering in fantasy. He has 4 touchdowns this season, and his rapport with Ben Roethlisberger should further flourish. Marlon Mack, RB, Indianapolis Colts, 29.0%. 0%. The talent of Mac is apparent and was on display during his 24-yard touchdown catch in Week 8 versus the Bengals. Frank Gore remains the undisputed starter in the Colts' backfield, but Mac's explosive ability and pass-catching acumen pop on tape each week. The Colts have found themselves playing from behind with regularity this season, something that bodes well for Mac and should increase his overall playing time. Although Gore is as steady and reliable as they come at running back, the 2-6 Colts might decide to focus on developing the talent of their young players down the stretch, which would lead to more time for Mac. He's an add in 12-team or larger leagues. Robbie Anderson, WR, New York Jets, 25.5%. Anderson has an abundance of speed and has been on a roll of late, posting 3 straight double-digit games in points per reception scoring. He has a touchdown in back-to-back games and is averaging nearly 8 targets per game over his past 3 outings. With 6 more teams on a bye this week, Anderson will be on the flex radar as a player who has touchdown, big play upside. Jack Doyle, T. Indianapolis Colts, 38.5%. Hello, Jack Doyle. He has been an absolute monster the past 3 games. 25 catches for 211 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 12 catches and a score in Week 8. The bottom line is he provides a weekly starting option at a position where that is hard to find. Doyle should be added by anyone in need of a Week 9 fill-in for a player such as Rob Gronkowski or anyone in need of a tight end upgrade. DeAndre Washington, RB, Oakland Raiders, 35.7%. Washington chewed up late yards to make his Week 8 performance very fantasy-friendly. 28 points. But I thought the overall performance was enough to at least prompt this thought. Will he cement a larger role going forward? Even with Marshawn Lynch returning from suspension. To the eye, he has been more effective than Lynch this season. Dion Lewis, RB, New England Patriots, 48.3%. The Patriots got excellent contributions from Rex Burkhead in Week 8, adding to the mix yet another back fantasy players should be mindful of. More on him in a bit, but Lewis saw a season-high 17 touches against the Chargers, and his 2017 body of work is solid. Mike Gillislee still looks likely to get goal line touches, and the role of James White plus Burkhead cannot be ignored. But based on volume and performance, Lewis is still an add that will likely rank inside our top 30 running backs each week once the Patriots return from a bye in Week 10. Corey Davis, WR, Tennessee Titans, 24.0%. How about a second-half sleeper in Davis? He was the 5th overall pick in this year's draft and opened the season with a 6-catch, 69-yard performance. A hamstring issue has limited him, but he appears ready to re-enter the lineup in Week 9. Anyone looking for an upside play should consider Davis, especially with quarterback Marcus Mariota expected to be much closer to 100% coming out of the bye. Paul Richardson, WR, Seattle Seahawks, 10.3%. What Richardson brings to the table is incredible speed, and more. He is modest in size, 6 foot, 183 pounds, but terrific in competitive catch situations. Again, with so many teams on a bye in Week 9, Richardson is a flex option if you are chasing a touchdown or a long reception. He has 5 touchdowns this season and a 37-yard catch in 3 games. Vernon Davis, T. Washington Redskins, 13.8%. Starting tight end Jordan Reed left the team's Week 8 game due to injury, opening the door to the possibility of Davis stepping in again to fill his role. Davis remains a plus athlete for the position and a player who, when called upon, has been a reliable piece of the offense. He has 4 games with 50 or more receiving yards already this season and should crack our top 12 tight end ranks for Week 9 if Reed sits.